I remember saying, I feel a bit lightheaded. Maybe you should drive. Frank the bunny didn't say anything. Suddenly there was a terrible roar all around, and the sky was filled with these huge bats, and they were swooping and screeching and diving at the car. I think I should share with you the following fact. We were somewhere in the desert when the drugs began to take hold. Frank the bunny wasn't doing so good, so we smoked up another bowl of green gold. Driving was already pretty hard when the swarm of bats attacked my ride. I was swerving and dodging those goddamn things when I heard a voice from deep inside of me say,
Oh Jesus, where are these goddamn animals?
my world began to spin, or maybe it was the convertible I was in. But I wasn't telling that goddamn rabbit anything. The poor bastard would learn soon enough. It was backcountry we were in. When the car stopped spinning, a song came on the radio. So we sang along naturally.
One took over the line, sweet Jesus. One took over the line.
Wasn't good singing, or was it? I don't think I will ever know. In a drug-fueled moment, I enjoyed it, I think. On the bunny, it didn't really show. That's when the hitchhiker appeared. We skidded to a stop in front of him. And he was acting kind of weird, so to put his mind at ease, I told him,
Get in with your friends. We're not like the others.
He climbed in the back seat cautiously, which aroused my suspicions. We were barely up to 80 miles per hour when the bunny started swerving around the bats. And the huge manta rays were crashing into the car, and I think it was the acid causing that. The hitchhiker tried to jump out. I was somehow able to jump in the back seat and place him in a headlock to prevent this. I offered him some of our ether to test his loyalties. With wild, scared eyes, the hitchhiker said no. How can you trust a man who says no to ether? Now I thought if we let him out here, he will surely turn us in. He'd report us at once to some outback Nazi law enforcement group who would run us down like dogs and they would win. We would just have to cut off his head and bury him here and go. Did I say that out loud? Did I just think that? By the way the hitchhiker broke free and jumped from the car at that moment, I might have said it out loud, which I do regret. But with the hitchhiker gone, we pulled over for a refill from the trunk of the truck and do a quick inventory. We had 2 bags of grass, 75 pellets of mescaline, 5 sheets of high-powered bladder acid, a salt shaker half full of cocaine, a whole galaxy of multicolored uppers, downers, screamers, laughers. Also a quart of tequila, quart of rum, case of beer, pint of raw ether, and 2 dozen amyls. Not that we need all that for the trip, but once you get locked into a serious drug collection, the tendency is to push it as far as you can. In a closed society where everybody's guilty, the only crime is getting caught. In a world of thieves, the only final sin is stupidity. No sympathy for the devil, keep that in mind. You buy the ticket, you take the ride. If it occasionally gets a little heavier than what you had in mind, well, tune in, freak out, and get beaten. I was not proud of what I had learned, but I never doubted it was worth knowing. Life has become immeasurably better since I've been forced to stop taking it seriously. No sympathy for the devil, keep that in mind. You buy the ticket, you take the ride. If it occasionally gets a little heavier than what you had in mind, well, tune in, freak out, and get beaten. I hate to advocate drugs, alcohol, violence, or insanity to anyone, but they've always worked for me. No sympathy for the devil, keep that in mind. You buy the ticket, you take the ride. If it occasionally gets a little heavier than what you had in mind, well, tune in, freak out, and get beaten. Music's always been a matter of energy to me. Question of fuel. Sentimental people call it inspiration, but what they really mean is fuel. I've always needed fuel. I'm a serious consumer. I still believe that a gas needle on empty can go about 50 miles more with the right music turned up loud. No sympathy for the devil, keep that in mind. You buy the ticket, you take the ride. If it occasionally gets a little heavier than what you had in mind, well, tune in, freak out, and get beaten. When your life gets complicated and the weasels start closing in, the only cure is to load up on heinous chemicals and drive like a bastard from Hollywood to Las Vegas with the music at top volume and at least a pint of raw ether. No sympathy for the devil, keep that in mind. You buy the ticket, you take the ride. If it occasionally gets a little heavier than what you had in mind, well, tune in, freak out, and get beaten. Life should not be a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in a pretty and well-preserved body, but rather to skid in broadside in a cloud of smoke, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, "Wow, what a ride."